Hi, I'm Sherry Mumford with Stamping at Last, and I'm going to show you how to make this little book gift box. It opens up, you can put something in it. This box, when it's all said and done, is about 6.5 by 4.5. I saw this on Mixed Up Craft. Now her box is a little bit bigger, so if you're looking for a little bit bigger of a box, you may want to look her up on YouTube, but for today I'm going to give you instructions how to make this box. Okay, to get started, I'm going to let you know what pieces you need to cut out. For the book box cover, for this one I chose crumb cake. So that will need to be 10 3/4 by 6.5. Now for the front and the back panels, you notice this one I had snowflakes. I'm going to use, like I said, some of the new designer series paper called Toil Tidings. I was so excited to get this paper. It is absolutely beautiful. It was really hard to decide between the green and the red and this snow scene and that snow scene, but I did go ahead and go with this one in real red. Now, whichever designer series paper you choose, you'll need to cut 2 of them. One for the front, one for the back. So you cut those 6 1/4 by 4. Then, for the box inserts, these inserts, you'll need 2 of 10 by 8. Again, I'm sticking with my crumb cake. 10 by 8, you'll need 2 of those. Now there's these lips on this side. You can kind of see these lips. You'll need 2 5 7/8 by 1.5 and 2 3 7/8 by 1.5. I use the same color because I want them to blend in with my box. You're also going to need some ribbon. I just laid that there so I wouldn't forget to tell you. 27 inches of ribbon. And this ribbon is going to wrap around the box and hold your tassels. Now for the tassels, I like the contrast of the different colors. You'll need 2 pieces of 7 by 2. I picked crumb cake and real red, and then for the top of the tassel, I put the opposite color. So 1.5 by 3/8. You'll need 2 of those, one to go with each tassel. Now for the front of the box, there's this little border around the greeting. So this border is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. The card I told you to cut for the greeting, I said 3 by 3. That way when you stamp it, it'll give you a little bit of wiggle room, because when you run it through the Big Shot with this stitched framelit, it's going to make it smaller and it'll fit perfectly in that spot. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start with the cover. This is the piece that was 10 3/4 by 6.5. It needs to be scored. So bring my scoreboard. You want to score it at 4 1/4 and 6.5. Then I'm going to go ahead and do some stamping just to get that part done with. On the spine, you notice over here I had stamped a little snowflake, but then I glued one of the snowflakes. I thought that was cute. But on this one I am going to stamp a snowflake in real red. And I picked the snowflake from the Snowflake Soiree stamp set. It's a retired stamp set. But any snowflake or any little design you want will work great on that spine. I want to do that before I start curving it or anything like that, just because it's easier for me. Now when I stamp this, I'm going to kind of, just to be sure my snowflake is straight, I'm just going to stamp it on here first. Okay, so I see it's not really lined up with the tag I have, so I might need to go over just a little bit when I do the spine. So I'm going to try to get it pretty much there in the center. So that solid line is going to be my imaginary center. And this way, it was over a little bit, so instead of right at center, I'll move it over just a tad. Okay. And then I'm also going to stamp my greeting for the front. This greeting is part of an old hostess set, 6 sayings. And I just like the way it looks, especially with that stitched framelit. So I'm gonna get my little piece of paper, the 3x3. I'm just gonna stamp it as much in the center as I can. That way when I close my ink, I don't have to get back in there. Okay. Next, we'll need to round some corners. So you'll need a corner rounder. I've been using this one of Stampin' Up that has 3 different things on it. It's going to be perfect. There's one that's the rounder. So you put each corner in there. Just make sure it's flush on both sides. Oops. Make sure it's straight. Okay. Then you're going to also round 2 of the corners of the front and the back. So for this one, you're not going to round these 2 corners, you're just going to round these 2 corners and then these 2 corners. So we'll do those real quick. And I like to put this part on before I start scoring or folding anything, just because it's easier for me to adhere it when my whole piece is flat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere those to the sides there. And I think I'm just going to use my Tombow glue. This one's kind of running low. I think I've got enough for this though. See how pretty the green side is too? Hard decision, but we're going with red. We've already started. And just center it there on each side. Then the label for the front, I'm not going to put it on just yet because I do want to put it on with dimensionals, and it'll be easier for me to adhere the inside of my box when it's flat without those dimensionals on the other side. So I'm just going to set this part aside for right now. So now we'll go ahead and do the inserts for the box. That's these 2 pieces like this that we're going to go inside the box. Now we've already cut them at 10 by 8. Now we're going to score both of these pieces at 1 and 2 on all 4 sides. So at 1 inch and 2 inches, all 4 sides. And I'm sure you don't need to watch me do the other one. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is fold along these score lines and burnish these. So do that on all your score lines. we're going to cut our tabs. So on the shorter side, you're going to cut along this score line all the way up to the second horizontal score line on both of these. See, I cut all the way up to there. Then you're going to cut off these 2 tabs and this 1 tab. And then you're going to notch on all these sides. So each corner is going to have 4 notches. So let's do the other side. You're going to cut all the way up to the second score line. Cut off these 2 tabs and this 1 tab. Then you're going to notch all these sides. And you do the same thing on the other side. Up to the second score line. Cut off 2 tabs and then just 1. And then notch them. Okay. And you're going to do this for both of these pieces that you cut out. Because these are going to be the insides, the little boxes that you put inside the cover of the book. Okay. Now we're going to glue, and I'm going to use my Tombow glue. We're going to glue these little tabs to the inside of the box. So I just put glue on all of mine at one time. I'm just careful not to set it down so it doesn't stick to my other paper. So you put glue there, then you fold it up and stick it to the inside like this. Do the same thing with all 4 corners. Just make sure it's straight on your edge. Now I'm just double checking. This one kind of came apart, so I got to push it back together. Make sure they're all staying where they're supposed to be. Then what we're going to do next is we're going to glue these sides inside the box. So same thing, I like to glue all 4 of them. Put glue on the tabs all at one time so I'm not having to keep picking up my glue bottle. So I'm just going to put some glue here on all these tabs. Then one by one you're going to fold them in. Don't worry if they don't stick right away. You just kind of get them all folded in first. Then we'll go back and burnish those. Just get them all folded. Then take your bone folder. Press them down really firmly. I do this several times on each side just to be sure that it's adhered really well. One thing I thought would look cute, which I didn't do with this, but I might at some point when I make these boxes, is also stamp some kind of design inside there before I even fold these up. So I think it'd be cute to open up the box and have a little message inside the box as well. I should have done that, but I'm going to with some of these that I make. I like to open up boxes and see stuff stamped inside the box. So I've already made the other one. So you should have, once you get them both done, you'll have 2 boxes, same size, and these are going to go inside your cover. So for the cover, we're going to go ahead and burnish along the score lines. And then, before we even glue these down, I'm just going to take my bone folder and kind of curve it in a little bit. So it'll have a little bit of a curve. You notice on this one, let me get this closed. You can kind of see how it's kind of curved. And I just did that with my bone folder. Just kind of messed with it till I got it to curve some. A little bit hard just because this is such a big piece of paper, but it does make it look nicer if it's got a curve to it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and glue these in there. We're going to put glue all on the bottom, and then we're going to line it up. With these, I lined them right up to the score line, not on top of it, but to the score line. So I'm going to put glue all on the bottom of this box. I don't get too close to that because I don't want it squirting out once I lay it flat. Well, got a little bit close. Okay. I think I'm gonna do this side first. So I make sure it's close to the score line, and then close to the same distance from the top and the bottom. Turn it around. Looks like it needs to go up just a tad bit more. It's not too late. Okay. Then I'm going to take my bone folder, just smooth it out so that glue gets all flat inside there. So then when I do this one, put glue on the bottom. Okay, get close to the score line. And make sure it's even with the other side. Looks like it is. Okay, so then I'm getting my bone folder, smooth it out, make sure it's flat all the way in there. Now, these next little pieces, I called them lips, maybe they're tabs. You're gonna put them in here, okay? Make sure you put them on the right side. So this is the back of my book. So when I open it up, I'm gonna put these inside here. That way when I fold it over, it kind of catches it and keeps it closed. So I'm just gonna put some glue. And you can put it on the bottom of there, but it seems like I get it too high, so I'm just putting it inside here. I'm gonna go ahead and do all 4 sides. Hope you can see what I'm doing. I have to find my backup glue. One more side. Okay, had to grab another glue. This one seems to be working. Okay. So then you just lay these in there right against the side. Once you get them in there, be sure and press all along the sides to be sure they're sticking well. Okay. Now when you close it, first 3 times you may just have to, just be sure and line it up, and that'll help keep it closed. So your book will stand up. It won't just come open every time you stand it up. Now we're going to work on the part that goes on the top. Like I said, we had this one little red piece. It was 2 7/8. Then I stamped this one. It was on a 3 by 3, but I'm gonna cut it out with the stitched framelits dies, and I'm gonna use the largest square. So I'm gonna go to the Big Shot and cut this out. Okay, so I cut this out with stitched framelit, that largest square. Turns out so pretty. It just makes it have that finished look. So I'm gonna adhere the greeting to this red cardstock. I'm just going to use my Tombow. And then I'm going to adhere it to the box with dimensionals. Make sure I've got that centered pretty well. And so I've used all these dimensionals, so I'm just going to use the outlines. I don't like to throw them away. They still work really well. So I'm just use these pieces. I think I'll stick one in the middle. As tape to let them go to waste. And sometimes it's nice to have a longer piece. Uh-oh, that one pulled the sticky off. Let me get another one. Yeah, that's better. Okay, then I just center it on my box. I think that looks so pretty. And you see the winter snow, there's the snowflakes, and then that snowflake on the edge just adds a lot. So now we're gonna work on the tassel. I already did one, but I'm gonna show you how to do the other one. I did this one. So what you're gonna do with that other piece, you had 2 pieces of cardstock that were 2 by 7. You're going to score along the 2-inch side. You're going to score 1/2 inch. Just 1/2 inch along the short side. And then you're using that just as a guide. you're going to go about 1/8 of an inch up to the score line, just all the way across. Now, I'd never made any of these tassels before, so on Mixed Up Crafts, she did such a good job of explaining how to make these tassels. I was just thrilled now to be able to know how to do this. So you just go all the way to the end. I'm trying to get 1/8 of an inch. Just do your best to get them as uniform as possible. So I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to see me cut all the way down. Okay, so I got all that cut to the end. Now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to curl it all the way down. Then on this end, I'm going to cut off just like 2, maybe like 3 of those little tabs. So I'll have this tab now. And you notice this one's already attached to the ribbon, so I'm going to attach this one to the other end. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue right here, not the end with that tab cut off, but this other end. And put the ribbon there. Fold it over just a couple times. Make sure it's in there. Then I'm going to kind of pinch it a little to make it a little rounder. Oops, I need to put some glue there. Should put glue all along the edge of this. Oops. Okay, and just roll it. Hoping my finger's not in the way, you can see what I'm doing. I think I'm going to switch hands. Yeah, it's easier. Okay, then you just kind of hold it, make sure it's sticking. Get rid of that glue. Now this next piece that goes on the top, I feel more comfortable using the double-sided tape with this. So just put some tape on one side. And just put it at the top of the tassel and roll it all the way around. And there's the 2 tassels. Now this is going to go inside the book. You open it up, just lay it in here, then close it. And then I try to decide exactly where I want my tassels. I'm going to tie a bow to keep it on there. If I need to, I can move it once I get the bow tied. Perfect. Yes. And that just adds a little something to it. Isn't that pretty? I really like this box. I know if someone were giving me something, I would be very appreciative to get something like this, a box like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you have fun making these boxes. I think it's a great idea, especially with, got a few months till Christmas. They'll make a nice way to present your gifts. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it.